What if I told you that your kindness might be the very thing destroying you? In a world where we're taught to give, to help, to always be the bigger person, there's a harsh truth that almost no one dares to say out loud. Being too kind can ruin your life. Not just financially, not just emotionally, but sometimes in ways that feel like betrayal wrapped in silence. We admire generous people. We celebrate those who always show up for others. But have you ever noticed that the more available you are, the more invisible you become? Have you ever been used, drained, or taken for granted? All because you were trying to be a good person. This video dives into something uncomfortable, the hidden cost of being too nice. We're not saying kindness is a bad thing, but what if your kindness has no boundaries? What if it's the reason you're stuck exhausted and secretly resentful? Here's the question I want to ask you. Is it possible to be too kind to the wrong people? And if so, what does that mean for how we live, love, and protect our peace? If you've ever felt used, overlooked, or taken advantage of for your good heart, I want to hear your story in the comments. Do you think people take advantage of kindness, or is that just an excuse for becoming selfish? Let's talk about it. And if this hit home, don't forget to subscribe, because sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is stop giving so much to people who never deserved you in the first place. 5 types of kindness that end up hurting you. Intelligence is a gift, but kindness is a choice. This quote reminds us that kindness should be given wisely to the right people in the right situations. Here are 5 types of kindness you should avoid, because they may end up doing more harm than good, especially to yourself. When helping others hurts you, why you shouldn't say yes to what's beyond your capacity. We all want to be helpful. We want to be seen as generous, dependable, and kind. And often we say yes to helping others, even when deep down we know we're not in a position to do so. But there's a hidden danger in saying yes too quickly, especially when the task is beyond your actual ability or bandwidth. Kindness is a beautiful quality, but it must be grounded in wisdom and boundaries. When you take on things that are far outside your skill set, your time constraints, or your emotional energy, you're not just being kind, you're sacrificing your well-being. And often you're setting yourself up for frustration, failure, or resentment. You may say yes because you genuinely care. You may agree because you want to maintain a relationship, or you don't want to disappoint someone. Or maybe you're trying to prove that you're a good person. But if the task drains you, causes stress, eats up your time, and pulls you away from what you're actually good at, then it stops being kindness. It becomes self-betrayal. There are 2 common and painful outcomes of this kind of misguided help. In the first situation, you put in enormous effort, stretching yourself thin, and somehow the other person doesn't even notice. They assume it's normal. They think it's your job. Gratitude never comes, because to them, your help feels automatic, expected even. You're left exhausted and unappreciated. In the second situation, you try your best, but because the task is outside your expertise or capacity, you don't do it well. The result disappoints the other person. Instead of feeling grateful, they lose trust in your abilities. Your relationship suffers. And again, you're left hurt, misunderstood, and emotionally drained. In both cases, your intentions were good, but the outcome hurts both sides. This is why learning to say no is a powerful sign of maturity. It's not selfish, because saying no doesn't mean you're abandoning someone. It means you're giving them the chance to find better support while also protecting your own peace. It means acknowledging that kindness isn't about pleasing everyone. It's about being honest about what you can genuinely offer. Real kindness doesn't require self-sacrifice. Real kindness comes from knowing your limits and respecting them. When helping someone means hurting someone else, the dark side of good intentions. Not all help is truly helpful. Sometimes the kindest thing you can do is to say no. There may come a moment in your life when someone turns to you for support, not because they're in trouble, but because they want to bring trouble to someone else. Maybe it's subtle gossip disguised as concern, a favor that involves excluding someone, or assisting in actions that could damage another person's reputation, dignity, or peace. In those moments, it's tempting to go along, especially if it's someone close to you asking. You may tell yourself, "I'm just trying to help," or "I didn't mean any harm." But here's a hard truth: when your kindness becomes a tool to hurt another, it's no longer kindness. It's participation. You might not see the harm right away. It may not be obvious, but small actions done with good intentions can still lead to painful consequences, especially for the third person who wasn't part of the decision. In these cases, your role becomes complex. You aren't the instigator. You aren't the one carrying resentment or anger, but you become the bridge that allows harm to pass through. And when that happens, your kindness turns into a form of quiet cruelty cloaked in the illusion of support. It's important to remember that real kindness does no harm. Helping someone hurt another person, even indirectly, is not an act of loyalty. It's a moment of moral blindness. Sometimes the most loving thing you can do for a friend is refuse to join them in their pain, anger, or revenge. This doesn't mean you turn your back on people you care about. It means you gently draw the line. You can be there for them emotionally, but not participate in actions that may wound someone else. You can listen, support, and encourage healing, not hurting. And sometimes the person asking for your help doesn't even realize what they're doing. They're acting out of emotion, fear, jealousy, frustration. In that case, your refusal may help them pause and reflect. You might be the mirror they need to see themselves more clearly. Because no matter how small the action seems, you never truly know how deep the ripple effect will go. And when we act without awareness, we risk turning our good intentions into someone else's silent suffering. Real kindness isn't just about helping. It's about knowing when not to, why you shouldn't make important decisions for others, no matter how much you care. One of the greatest regrets a person can carry is captured in just 5 words: "I could have, but didn't." Behind that sentence often lies a moment in the past, a decision that could have gone differently. And more often than we realize, that decision wasn't entirely their own. It was influenced by someone else, a friend, a parent, a partner, someone who meant well, someone they trusted. In our desire to help, we may feel the urge to guide others, especially when they're facing a difficult or life-changing choice. We might even offer a solution, a clear path, a better option based on our experiences and beliefs. But here's the truth: what works for us may not work for them. Each person carries a different history, different values, different dreams. What seems obvious or safe to you might feel suffocating to them. What you consider wise might feel like a compromise to their deepest longing. That's why we should never make big decisions for others, not even if we're close, not even if we think we know what's best. Because no matter how well-intentioned we are, we're not them. We don't live inside their hearts. We don't carry their memories, fears, or hopes. We can't fully understand the trade-offs they're willing to make or the regrets they're willing to live with. When someone surrenders their agency and allows another person to decide for them, the result might be compliance, but not peace. And if the outcome goes wrong, they'll carry that regret. Not just because of what happened, but because they didn't truly choose it. And you may have meant no harm. You may have just wanted to help. But in their mind, your voice will always be tied to the moment they lost something they truly wanted. That's a heavy burden for both of you. So instead of giving answers, give space. Instead of telling them what to do, ask the questions that help them uncover their own clarity. Support their thinking, not replace it. Even if you have more experience, even if you love them deeply, hold back. Because in the end, the decision has to belong to them. True support means allowing someone the freedom and the responsibility to shape their own life, to make their own mistakes, to grow through the consequences, to own their joy, and yes, sometimes even their regrets. Let your care be felt not through control, but through trust. Because the most empowering thing you can do for someone is to believe that they are capable of deciding for themselves. And that belief may be the very thing that changes everything. When kindness becomes a debt, the hidden danger of financial help, the kinder you are, the harder it becomes to detect ill intentions in others. Your heart is open, generous, but that very softness can become a target for manipulation, especially when money is involved. Imagine this. Two young women share a rented apartment. Over time, they grow close, cooking meals together, sharing late-night talks, comforting each other after bad days. Then one day, one of them says her relative is seriously ill and needs expensive treatment. It's urgent. She's desperate. The other girl, moved by compassion and trust, offers not just her savings, but even borrows money on her friend's behalf. She thinks, how could I not help someone I care about? But one day, she comes home to find the apartment empty. Her roommate has vanished. No note, no forwarding address, no explanation. Later, the police confirm the cruel truth: she was scammed. This isn't a rare story. In fact, it's far more common than we'd like to admit. People get deceived not just by strangers, but often by those they trusted most. Friends, lovers, even family. And what makes the betrayal cut deeper is this. It was your kindness that was used against you. Kind-hearted people often have a blind spot. Their empathy, while beautiful, can cloud their judgment. Their instinct is to help, to believe the best in others, and that instinct sadly can override caution. The result, they're left not only with financial burdens, but also emotional scars, shame, heartbreak, self-doubt. Of course, it's noble to help loved ones in times of need, but generosity should never mean abandoning your sense of boundaries. As an old saying goes, you don't need to harm others, but you must protect yourself. It's not about being cold or distrustful. It's about being aware that even good people can lie, and even close relationships can break under pressure. People change, circumstances shift, and when money enters the picture, motives can quickly blur. So before you lend a large sum, pause. Ask yourself, am I giving out of guilt or fear? Or am I truly able to help without harming myself? Make sure you're not emptying your own cup to fill someone else's, especially when they might not even be sincere. You can be compassionate and cautious at the same time. You can offer support without handing over blind trust. And most importantly, you can care for others without forgetting to protect yourself. Because at the end of the day, true kindness isn't just about giving, it's about giving wisely. Let your heart be warm, but let your eyes stay open. When helping becomes a habit, and your kindness is taken for granted. At first, your kindness is appreciated. You offer a small bag of rice to someone in need, and they call you a blessing, a savior, an angel. But over time, as your giving becomes consistent, as your help becomes routine, something subtle starts to shift. You give more, not just a bag of rice, but a whole sack. Not just one favor, but dozens. And gradually the gratitude fades. What was once considered a generous act is now seen as something expected, something owed. This is the painful reality of helping someone who never learns to feel full, someone who never recognizes enough as enough. When generosity meets entitlement, kindness begins to rot from the inside. You may start with pure intentions, wanting to support, to uplift, to ease someone's burden. But as you continue to give, that person may stop seeing your help as a gift. Instead, They begin to treat it as a right, something they deserve simply for existing in your life. And then one day, when you're unable to help because of your own limits, your own hardships, the unthinkable happens. They become upset. They say you've changed. They accuse you of being selfish. They make you feel as though you owe them, when all along you were the one who gave freely. That is the danger of helping people who don't know contentment. To them, enough is never enough. Their hunger grows, not because they are in need, but because they've become dependent on being given to. You must remember, you can never satisfy someone who is determined to stay empty. And worse, you can never awaken someone who chooses to pretend they're asleep. No matter how much light you shine, they will close their eyes. So what do? You set boundaries. You give with awareness, not out of guilt. You help when your heart says yes, but you stop when it starts to feel like an obligation. You understand that true support empowers someone to grow. It doesn't enable them to remain helpless. Because real kindness is not about feeding endless hunger. It's about teaching others how to nourish themselves emotionally, financially, spiritually. Don't let your good heart be turned into a tool of self-destruction. Don't let others guilt you into endless giving. And don't forget, you have the right to say enough even when others never will. Help those who are truly in need. But protect yourself from those who only take, and never stop to say thank you. When good intentions are questioned, the silent burden of being kind, you can't please everyone. It's a phrase we've all heard, and most of us have lived. In a world where people are quick to judge, and even quicker to post their opinions, doing something good doesn't always guarantee praise. In fact, more and more people are finding that when they try to do something kind, they're met not with appreciation, but suspicion. Take the story of Rachel, a young woman working at a finance company in downtown Chicago. She started her new job full of optimism, cheerful, warm, and genuinely eager to get along with everyone in the office. She often brought in small treats for her co-workers, cookies, fruit snacks, as a way to create warmth and connection. She didn't expect much in return, just a friendly environment where people supported one another. But things didn't go the way she imagined. Unbeknownst to her, the department was divided into cliques, subtle, unspoken alliances that shaped the team's social rules. By treating everyone equally and refusing to pick a side, Rachel found herself quietly resented by both groups. Her kindness was misinterpreted as being naive, or worse, manipulative. When she tried to confide in someone she trusted, a colleague told her quietly, "People think you're trying too hard. They say you're fake." Suddenly, her warmth became a liability. Her efforts to create unity became a reason to be excluded. Being kind without aligning with one group was seen as disloyal. She wasn't loud. She wasn't dramatic. She just wanted people to get along. But in a polarized environment, even kindness can look like betrayal. And Rachel's story isn't rare. It happens everywhere in offices, families, schools, and especially online. Consider Lauren, a marketing specialist from Seattle, who volunteers on weekends with grassroots charities. She joins trips to underserved communities, helping distribute school supplies, food, and essentials to families in need. After each trip, she shares a few photos on social media, snapshots of Joy Kids, smiling, a heartfelt caption about giving back. Her goal: to spread positivity, to encourage others to give, to show that kindness still exists. But instead of support, she often faces skepticism. Comments flood in. Why post it? Just help and stay quiet. Some accuse her of doing it for attention. She's just trying to look good. One person even wrote, "It's not like you organized it. Why act like a hero?" Lauren was stunned. She wasn't bragging. She wasn't asking for applause. She just wanted to share something meaningful. Maybe even inspire someone else. But what she got in return was judgment dressed as honesty. Some co-workers were more polite. They sent private messages warning her to be careful that not all non-profit groups are legit, that some might use her goodwill for personal gain. It wasn't cruel, but it was filled with doubt. And the message was clear. Be careful, your kindness might make you look like a fool. And it begs the question, when did kindness become suspicious? In the age of social media, we walk a fine line between visibility and vulnerability. If you share a good deed, you're seeking validation. If you don't share, you're not doing anything. If you speak up, you're virtue signaling. If you stay silent, you're part of the problem. There's no winning and often no peace. Even recently, a heartwarming story from a small diner in Ohio made headlines. A customer had accidentally transferred over $11,000 through a digital payment app instead of the $11 owed for lunch, a typo that could have caused financial disaster. But the owner returned the full amount without hesitation. He didn't ask for praise. He didn't post a video. He simply did the right thing. And yet, even that act was met with doubt. People online questioned the story's authenticity. Some claimed it was a publicity stunt. Others said the mistake was too unrealistic. No one accidentally sends that much money they wrote. This smells like a viral marketing ploy. It's disheartening to see how easily our trust can erode. It's not that people don't believe in goodness, it's that we're afraid of being played. After years of fake fundraisers, exaggerated content and viral hoaxes, we've become suspicious of sincerity itself. But what does this mean for those who still want to do good? It means they carry a quiet burden. They pause before posting. They question their own motives. They shrink a little inside, knowing that even the most genuine intentions can be twisted by someone else's lens. So where do we go from here? Maybe we start by giving people the benefit of the doubt, not blindly, but compassionately. No, we don't need to glorify every good deed. But we can choose not to punish people for trying. We can let someone share their kindness without assuming they're selling something. We can scroll past without snark. Or better, we can say, thanks for showing that good still exists. Because in a world full of noise, division and disappointment, a little kindness, even if imperfect, is worth more than we think. And sometimes the bravest thing you can do is to stay kind anyway. Habits you should give up for a better life. The trap of comparison when focusing on others steals your joy. It starts innocently enough. You're pulling into your driveway after a long day and you notice your neighbor's brand new car, shiny, spotless, clearly more expensive than yours. You nod politely, maybe even smile, but something shifts inside. Suddenly, the old sedan you've been driving for years feels inadequate. Comparison has entered the room, and if you're not careful, it won't leave. It's natural to compare. We all do it. We compare jobs, homes, appearances, vacations, relationships, especially in the age of social media where people curate their highlight reels for the world to see. A friend gets a promotion. A former classmate launches a successful business. A neighbor renovates their kitchen, and quietly, without meaning to, you start measuring your life against theirs. But here's the truth. Comparison is a habit that slowly destroys your peace. What begins as a casual observation quickly becomes a whisper in your head. You're behind. You should have more. Why not you? Over time, this whisper grows louder. Instead of feeling grateful for what you do have, you begin to focus on what you don't. Instead of celebrating others, you feel bitterness, even jealousy. And that emotion, jealousy, is like a slow poison. It won't scream, but it will seep. It will cloud your joy. It will rob your contentment. It will make you question your own journey, even if you're doing perfectly fine. The worst part, you're comparing your reality to someone else's appearance. You don't see the debt behind the new car, the loneliness behind the perfect family photo, or the anxiety behind the high-paying job. You're comparing your behind the scenes with someone else's highlight reel, and that's never a fair fight. So what can you do? You start by noticing the pattern. When you feel that pang of envy or inadequacy, don't judge yourself. Just pause. Ask, what story am I telling myself right now? Then gently return to your lane. Your life isn't supposed to look like theirs. Your timeline is not their timeline. And success, real success, is deeply personal. For some, it's a corner office. For others, it's a quiet home filled with love. For you, it might be peace of mind, creative freedom, health, or a life without debt. Focus on what truly matters to you, not what looks impressive to others. The moment you stop chasing someone else's version of success is the moment you start finding your own. Because no matter how fast others are running, the only race worth winning is the one that leads you back to yourself. The danger of staying too long in your comfort zone. Everyone has a comfort zone, that familiar space where life feels predictable, manageable, and safe. There's nothing wrong with feeling secure. In fact, safety is one of our most basic human needs. But staying too long in that place of comfort can quietly rob us of growth, inspiration, and self-discovery. Over time, what once felt like a sanctuary can start to feel like a cage. When we avoid discomfort at all costs, we also avoid the opportunities that come with it, the kind of experiences that stretch us, shape us, and reveal what we're truly capable of. You may tell yourself, I'm fine where I am, but deep down, a quiet voice may whisper, you're capable of more. The truth is, personal growth begins the moment you step beyond what feels easy. Whether it's applying for a job, you're not 100% qualified for starting a new hobby that intimidates you, or speaking up in situations where you usually stay silent. These small acts of courage build resilience, confidence, and clarity. In fact, a 2021 study published in Frontiers in Psychology found that managers who set high specific goals at work showed increased motivation, perseverance, and performance compared to those who set vague or overly easy goals. This doesn't just apply to business, it's true for life in general. Without goals, we drift. We wake up, go through the motions, and wonder why we feel uninspired. Lacking direction doesn't just affect productivity. It can affect mental health, self-esteem, and the sense of purpose that keeps us moving forward. The good news, you don't need to overhaul your entire life overnight. Start small. Choose one area of your life where you feel stuck or unchallenged and ask, what's one small goal I can set that scares me just a little? Maybe it's speaking publicly for the first time. Maybe it's starting a side project, signing up for a class, or having an honest conversation you've been avoiding. The point isn't to be fearless. The point is to move forward even while you're afraid. With every step outside your comfort zone, you'll gain a little more strength. You'll discover that you can handle more than you think. And over time, the impossible becomes manageable, and the manageable becomes familiar. Life doesn't get easier, you get braver. And with each brave step, you get closer to the life you truly want. Not the one that's comfortable, but the one that's deeply fulfilling. So ask yourself, are you living safe or living fully? The voice inside. How negative self-talk quietly destroys your confidence. We all have an inner voice, that constant stream of thoughts running through our minds. Sometimes it's encouraging, other times it's not. And when that voice becomes overly critical, it doesn't just stay in your head, it shapes your reality. According to a study published in scientific reports, positive self-talk can significantly improve emotional regulation, attention, and cognitive performance. In contrast, negative self-talk is closely linked to poor emotional and psychological outcomes. In other words, how you talk to yourself matters more than you might think. Negative self-talk is subtle. It can sound like I always mess things up, I'm not good enough. Why even try? I'll just fail again. These words may seem harmless, but repeated often enough, they become beliefs. Quiet, destructive beliefs that chip away at your self-worth. What's even more dangerous is how this inner dialogue can distort your perception of reality. Even when good things happen, a negative inner voice can twist them. You get praise at work and your mind says, they're just being nice. You achieve a goal and you hear, it wasn't that big of a deal. This constant undermining keeps you from truly feeling proud, capable, or worthy. Over time, it doesn't just affect how you see yourself, it affects how you live. You may stop going after opportunities, avoid relationships, or sabotage your own progress, all because you believe the harsh story you're telling yourself. But here's the good news. You can change the story. It starts with kindness, not the kind you give to others, but the kind you offer yourself. When you make a mistake, try saying, I'm learning. When you feel nervous, remind yourself, it's okay to be afraid. I'm still moving forward. When you succeed, allow yourself to feel proud. I worked for this. I deserve to celebrate it. You don't need to be unrealistically positive. You just need to be gentle, honest, and supportive. The way you'd speak to a close friend who's struggling. Rewiring your self-talk takes time, but each small shift builds momentum. Every time you choose encouragement over criticism, you reshape your brain, your emotions, and your future. You begin to see the world more clearly and yourself more kindly. So the next time that harsh inner voice speaks up, pause. Ask, would I say this to someone I love? If the answer is no, you probably shouldn't say it to yourself either, because you deserve better, not just from the world, but from the words inside your own mind. When you neglect your health, everything else suffers in the fast pace of modern life. It's easy to put your own needs last. You skip meals to meet deadlines. You cut back on sleep to finish one more task. You ignore the aching in your body, the heaviness in your chest, or the quiet fatigue behind your eyes, all in the name of being productive, responsible, or strong. But make no mistake, neglecting your health is not strength. It's slow self-destruction. When you consistently put your body and mind on the back burner, you're walking a straight path toward burnout, emotional exhaustion, and long-term suffering. You might not notice it right away. It begins subtly with irritability, low energy, difficulty, concentrating. Then it deepens, chronic fatigue, anxiety, emotional disconnection, even physical illness. Your body and mind are always speaking to you. The problem is, most of us have forgotten how to listen. That tension in your shoulders, the racing thoughts at night, the constant feeling of being on edge, they're not just random symptoms. They're messages that something inside you needs care, that something is being neglected. Health is not just about avoiding disease. It's about creating space to thrive physically, mentally, and emotionally. You need rest, not as a reward, but as a basic requirement. You need movement, not for appearance, but to feel alive. You need nourishment, not punishment, through dieting, but true fuel for your energy and mood. And you deserve all of it. You deserve deep sleep, nourishing food, joyful movement, quiet moments. Because you are not a machine. You're a living, breathing human being, and your well-being is not optional. When you start to prioritize your health, everything else improves. Your focus sharpens. Your mood lifts. Your relationships deepen. You stop surviving and start living. It doesn't have to be perfect. You don't need to go on a strict diet or run 5 miles every morning or meditate for an hour. Start simple. Go to bed 30 minutes earlier. Take a short walk during lunch. Drink water before reaching for caffeine. Listen to your body when it says I need a break. Your life will always have responsibilities, but remember, you can't show up fully for anything or anyone if you're running on empty. So give yourself permission to care deeply and consistently, because you're not here to simply get through each day. You're here to grow, to heal, to shine, and to live a life that feels nourishing, not just from the outside, but from within. Your health isn't selfish, it's sacred, and taking care of it is one of the greatest acts of self-respect you can ever offer. Letting go of the past, the first step toward healing. Regret is part of being human. We all carry moments we wish had gone differently. Things we said, chances we miss, people we lost. But when regret turns into a constant companion, when we replay our mistakes over and over, unable to forgive ourselves, we stop living in the present. We become trapped in a version of ourselves that no longer exists. The truth is, no amount of overthinking can undo what has already happened. You can analyze every detail. You can wish you had done better. But the past is not a place you can live in. It's a chapter that's already been written. And reading it again and again will only keep you stuck in the same loop of self-blame, guilt, and shame. When you hold on to your past mistakes, you're not punishing the past, you're punishing yourself in the present. This self-criticism doesn't serve as a lesson. It becomes a form of emotional self-sabotage. You may think, if I just keep feeling bad, it means I care. But the truth is, real growth comes from reflection, not obsession. You cannot become the person you want to be if you're constantly condemning the person you used to be. Holding on to old emotions, regret, anger, shame, closes the door to any meaningful change or progress. You're not letting yourself evolve. You're carrying yesterday into tomorrow and wondering why it still hurts. So what's the alternative? Forgiveness. Not for others this time, but for yourself. It's not about pretending the past didn't happen. It's about acknowledging that you did the best you could with what you knew at the time. It's about recognizing your humanity, your capacity to make mistakes, learn, and still be worthy of love and healing. Start by speaking to yourself gently. I am not my past. I can grow from this. I forgive myself for what I didn't know. I choose to carry the lesson, not the burden. Letting go doesn't mean erasing the memory. It means choosing peace over pain. It means shifting your focus from what's behind you to what's ahead. Because the future holds new chances, new relationships, new versions of yourself, new stories waiting to be lived. But you'll never see them clearly if you're always looking backward. So breathe. Let it go. Not because the past deserves it, but because you do. You deserve the kind of life that isn't defined by your mistakes, but by how you rise from them. Healing starts when you give yourself permission to move forward, and that begins the moment you stop clinging to what can no longer be changed and start reaching for what can. Avoiding honest conversations, the silent weight that builds over time. It's easy to avoid difficult conversations. No one enjoys confrontation. We tell ourselves it's not the right time, or maybe it will just fix itself. But the more we avoid honest communication, the more we allow misunderstandings, resentment, and emotional distance to grow. Avoidance doesn't make problems disappear. It simply delays the explosion. You may think you're keeping the peace, but what you're really doing is storing tension, and that tension always finds a way to surface, often in ways you can't control. When you continually hold back how you truly feel, you create a pattern of silent suffering. Unspoken frustrations pile up. Small annoyances turn into deep resentment. And eventually, even minor conflicts begin to feel unbearable. Worse, without clarity, others are left guessing. and their assumptions often make the situation worse. Misunderstandings deepen, trust erodes, and all because the words that needed to be said never were. But here's the thing, a hard conversation now is easier than a broken relationship later. Being honest doesn't mean being harsh. It means showing up with clarity, courage, and compassion. So how do you begin? Start by asking yourself, what do I really need to express? What outcome do I hope for from this conversation? Being clear with yourself first helps prevent emotional spirals during the discussion. When you do initiate the conversation, stay calm. Breathe. Come with curiosity, not accusations. Instead of saying, "You never listen," try, "I feel unheard." When, use language that opens a door, not one that builds a wall. It's also essential to ask clarifying questions. Don't just talk, listen. Real conversations are two-way streets, and sometimes the answers you need come from giving space for the other person to speak. And above all, release the need to win. Honest conversations are not battles, they're bridges. The goal is not to be right, but to be understood and to understand. Yes, it can feel uncomfortable at first. Yes, you may stumble on your words. Yes, emotions may rise. But each time you choose open dialogue over silent withdrawal, you reclaim your peace, your integrity, and your power. Because truth, even when it's difficult, heals, and silence, when it's driven by fear, slowly poisons everything it touches. So speak, not to argue, not to hurt, but to clear the air, heal the wound, and reconnect with what matters most: real understanding. Your relationships and your well-being depend on it. Neglecting relationships, the quiet cause of loneliness and decline. In today's fast-paced world, it's easy to let relationships slip to the bottom of our to-do lists. Between work deadlines, personal goals, and endless distractions, we often tell ourselves, "I'll call them later," or "we'll catch up soon." But days turn into weeks, weeks into months, and before we realize it, the people we care about feel distant, and so do we. A long-term study conducted by Harvard University, one of the longest of its kind, found a powerful truth: strong, close relationships are the key to lasting happiness and better physical health. People who are more connected to family, friends, and community are not only happier, but also live longer and stay mentally sharper as they age. Yet ironically, when life gets busy, relationships are often the first thing we neglect. We prioritize urgent tasks over meaningful conversations. We push off that lunch with a friend, skip the family gathering, or scroll through social media instead of making a real phone call. And slowly we drift, not just from others, but from a part of ourselves. Neglecting relationships doesn't always look dramatic. It happens quietly, through absence, through silence, through busyness disguised as necessity. But the consequences are real. Social isolation chips away at our emotional well-being. It reduces our sense of belonging and increases the risk of anxiety, depression, and even physical health problems. We are social creatures wired for connection, and when we don't feed that need, our spirit suffers. The good news is, it's never too late to reconnect. You don't need grand gestures. Often the smallest acts rebuild the strongest bonds. A text that says, "Just thinking of you." A quick call on your lunch break. Stopping by a neighbour's house for a real conversation. Reaching out isn't always convenient, but it's almost always healing. Nurturing your relationships, whether it's with a parent, a partner, a friend, or your community, is one of the most valuable investments you can make. Not just for them, but for yourself. Because when life gets hard, and it always does, It's not your resume or your possessions that will carry you. It's the people who care about you. So pause for a moment today. Think of someone you've lost touch with. Reach out without expecting anything back. Not because it's urgent, but because it's important. In the end, it's our connections, not our accomplishments, that define the richness of our lives. And every strong relationship begins with one simple choice: to make time for what truly matters. The power of gratitude. Why appreciating what you have changes everything. Gratitude may seem like a soft, quiet virtue, but its impact is profound. When we forget to be grateful, we slowly lose sight of what truly matters. We begin to focus only on what's missing, what's wrong, or what's not enough. And from that place, even a life filled with blessings can feel deeply unsatisfying. It's easy to take things for granted, especially when we're busy, overwhelmed, or facing challenges. We may fall into the mindset of "I'll be happy when we have more money, more success, more comfort." But the truth is, gratitude isn't the result of happiness, it's the foundation of it. Life isn't always easy. Some days feel heavy, some seasons feel unfair. But even in the hardest moments, there is always something, however small, to be thankful for. Maybe it's a friend who lets you cry without judgment. Maybe it's the roof over your head that keeps you safe at night. Maybe it's a hot cup of tea in the morning, or the way the sun hits your window in the afternoon. Maybe it's simply the fact that you woke up today and get another chance to try again. Gratitude is not about pretending everything is perfect. It's about recognizing the beauty that exists alongside the struggle. When you pause to notice what's already good, your mindset shifts. You begin to see more clearly, love more deeply, and live more fully. In contrast, when we lack gratitude, we begin to feel entitled, bitter, and disconnected. We compare ourselves to others. We feel like nothing is ever enough. And in chasing what's next, we miss what's now. But the most beautiful thing about gratitude is that it's always accessible. You don't need a perfect life to feel it, you just need to notice. Start by naming 3 small things each day that you're thankful for. Write them down. Speak them out loud. Let them anchor you when your mind starts to spiral into negativity. Gratitude won't erase your pain, but it will give it perspective. It will remind you that alongside the hardship, there is still softness. Alongside the chaos, there is still comfort. So the next time you feel lost or unsatisfied, pause, look around, feel the warmth of your drink, the breath in your lungs, the kindness of someone who cares. These moments, though easy to overlook, are the quiet miracles that make life worth living. And the more we notice them, the more they multiply. Because when we live with gratitude, we stop chasing happiness and start recognizing that it's been here all along. The kindness that costs too much. We live in a world that often tells us to be kind, to give more, to say yes more often, to be the bigger person. And most of us do, not because it's expected, but because it's who we are. We offer rides to people who never ask how we're getting home. We listen to others cry, even when no one listens to our silence. We show up again and again for people who've already forgotten the last time we did. And at some point, we start to notice. We feel tired. Not physically, but emotionally, spiritually exhausted. It's not just the giving, it's the imbalance. The quiet realization that your presence is appreciated only when it's needed. The subtle heartbreak that comes when you're always there for others, but rarely asked, "How are you really?" This isn't a story about selfishness. It's a reflection on how unchecked kindness becomes self-erasure, because somewhere along the way, being nice turned into being invisible. You stopped setting boundaries because you didn't want to be difficult. You stopped saying no because you were afraid of disappointing someone. You started making yourself smaller, emotionally, mentally, sometimes even physically, just to make others comfortable. And then you woke up and wondered, why do I feel so empty when I've given so much? Here's why. Kindness without boundaries is not compassion, it's self-abandonment. And no matter how good your heart is, you were never meant to carry everyone else's needs at the expense of your own. Let's be clear. Kindness is not the problem. Empathy is not weakness. The world needs gentle people now more than ever. But even more than that, the world needs whole people, not burnt-out shells of who they used to be. You see, when you're constantly trying to keep everyone else afloat, eventually you forget how to swim yourself. And drowning in silence is one of the loneliest forms of pain. We often don't talk about the trauma of being the strong one, the unspoken expectation that you'll always show up, that you'll be okay, that you'll handle it. But strength without softness becomes armor, and armor, when worn too long, becomes suffocating. So what can you do? You begin by asking yourself the hard questions. Who do I give to, and do they ever give back? Am I helping because I want to, or because I'm afraid to say no? When was the last time I received the same level of care I offer others? And then you start the real work. You redefine kindness. You understand that love with limits is still love. That a soft no is sometimes the most honest yes. That not everyone deserves your light. And that's not cruelty, it's wisdom. You learn that boundaries aren't walls, they're filters. They help you separate who is truly meant to be in your life from those who are only there when it's convenient. You learn that silence can be a gift when used for healing, not hiding. That rest is not laziness, it's preparation. That letting go is not failure, it's freedom. And eventually you realize something revolutionary. You don't have to earn your worth through suffering. You can stop over-explaining. You can stop giving so much to people who never asked how much it was costing you. You can let go of the fear that you'll be unloved if you stop overextending yourself. Because the people who truly love you, they don't love you because you fix everything. They love you because of who you are, not because of what you do for them. And as you begin to return home to yourself, something incredible happens. You still help, you still give, but you do it from a place of overflow, not depletion. You begin to say, I can't do this right now without guilt. You begin to say, I matter too, and believe it. You begin to prioritize peace over people-pleasing, and for the first time in a long time, you feel light. Not because life is suddenly easier, but because you finally stop carrying what was never yours to hold. So here's the truth we rarely say out loud. Yes, it's possible to be too kind to the wrong people. Yes, your compassion can be used against you. Yes, your warmth can attract those who never plan to give it back. But none of that means you're broken. It means you're learning. Learning where to place your love. Learning when to say yes and when to walk away. Learning how to care for others without abandoning yourself. And that lesson, that's what transforms quiet kindness into powerful self-respect. So if you're tired, not just physically, but in your soul, maybe it's not that you're doing too little. Maybe you've simply been doing too much for people who don't see you or value you or deserve the sacred energy you've been giving. Maybe this is your moment to change that. And if it is, if this resonates with you, I invite you to take one small step. Say no to one thing that drains you. Say yes to one thing that fills you, and repeat it until your life feels like it belongs to you again, because it does, and you do. You were never meant to be everyone's solution. You were meant to be whole.